Celestia Quixs, pronounced Celestia Quixs, asked an AI to explain who she is and why anyone should care. The AI got it spectacularly wrong, then had to be corrected, then got it wrong again. So, a normal Tuesday on the internet.
That exchange is actually the spine of today's episode. The post walks through what happens when automated systems try to summarize a real person's life, and what gets lost, misattributed, or actively distorted in the process. Let's start with who Celestia Quixs actually is, and why that question turns out to be harder than it sounds.
The post opens with a simple enough premise. Ask an AI to describe a real person. See what comes back. What it actually surfaces is a much thornier question about who gets to define someone's public record when the institutions that were supposed to help them have already failed.
The post frames her this way. Celestia Quixs is a writer, music artist, and survivor advocate. Her work focuses on transforming personal trauma, chronic illness, and systemic failure into creative expression. That is the baseline, but the post immediately starts stress testing it.
Because the AI, when pushed past the promotional bio, started inventing things. It misattributed her niece's businesses to her, pulled a completely different person's career in medical transcription, and framed documented institutional harm as a personal internet feud.
And she corrects the record directly. Her actual professional background includes a certificate in automated office systems, a vested retirement from the Health and Human Services Agency, work as an independently contracted auditor hired to assess employee adherence to company policy, and ordination as a minister. The post makes the point that this is not a background you dismiss as subjective.
A retired government auditor documenting systemic failure is, professionally speaking, doing exactly what she was trained to do.
That is precisely the argument. The post draws a direct line between her HHSA insider knowledge of how regulatory systems operate and her capacity to identify where they break down. Her volunteer record, years guiding children through every rank of Cub Scouts, 4 years leading the San Diego County chapter of the Megadeth Cyber Army, was also erased in the AI's first pass. The post also addresses why her recent writing looks different from her earlier structured essays. She is managing terminal chronic pulmonary aspergillosis that has migrated to her sinuses, with mycotoxins crossing the blood-brain barrier, while navigating a coercive living situation and ongoing family harassment, all without institutional support.
The post's answer to its own title lands quietly but hard. Had I simply received the help that is supposed to be there when someone asks for help, my experiences would never have made it into public view.
That reframes everything. The public archive, the music, the books, the blog posts, the AI conversations published as posts exists because mental health services, then family, then friends, then medical providers across 3 states, then legal systems, then social services, each closed the door. BetterHelp refunded her payment and declined to match her with a therapist. Peer support groups turned her away for being too complex.
The post names the pattern directly. The more complex someone's trauma becomes through cascading institutional failures, the more justification those same institutions use to exclude them. The loop compounds.
And her stated reason for publishing is not self-promotion. The post closes on this. She publishes so that others navigating the same lockouts feel less alone than I have felt and continue to feel. The documentation is both a personal record and, in her framing, a public service.
Which means the question the post title asks, why should anyone care, answers itself. If the safety nets are as porous as her record suggests, her documentation is evidence that concerns everyone who might someday need them.
What stays with me is that the post is itself a demonstration of its argument, a real person's life, filtered through a broken system, coming out distorted on the other side.
And the only correction available was her own voice, in public, in real time. Next time, we will see where the documentation goes from here.